Why should
you
we?
not disappointed?
Well,
Okay, you'd have to be a daydreamer.
You've gone to Super Bowl.
Yeah, lost all 4 of them. But
Right.
anyway.
What about that team you had that had the best offense in the whole NFL?
Yeah, it was great.
Kicker.
It was great. And then the kicker missed the kick. Hadn't missed one all year. But anyway.
Right. So, but
No, I'm sure they'll be fine. They're in a great division.
so they're
The Lions are good. You know,
Yeah.
that's never happened in our lifetime. And I think they're really good still.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers are good. You know, Jordan Love is coming on. He's going to be even better this year. Now the Bears are a little hit and miss.
Right.
And but hey, then you got the Vikings.
Sure.
They'll be a solid 500.
Bubba,
You know,
don't
solid,
be like this.
Solid. Maybe one game below.
But now let me. If I have the Vikings experience right, because I've been watching you deal with it for over 30 years, there'll be some place in here where people will try to get hope.
Oh yeah. That's part of the whole game.
Yeah, they'll get on some kind of run.
Oh, there'll be 3 or 4 games that they look like they're unbeatable.
Right.
And they will play some teams, and you go, how in the world did they do that?
He looks great,
And
Bubba.
then, he looked real good.
He looks
You're talking about 11.
fantastic.
You're talking about 11 for 18, 2 touchdowns,
He looks good.
1 interception.
Well, and to most experts
That
were
was
saying the interception was not that big a deal.
Okay.
It was not a.
It was a
not a
receiver
bad
bobbling it,
throw.
Okay.
and they picked it off. So, yeah, well, I mean, that's fine.
He's
It's,
throwing darts.
He is, and he'll be good with the old dry erasable board till he gets so he can walk again.
Right.
Well, you got Darnell.
Yeah, he's there's several there. Maybe.
I never heard of that middle one. I've heard of Nick Mullins because we've had him on the show, and
Yeah.
he did a good job for the Niners.
Yeah.
Is that who he helped
Yeah.
them? Yeah.
I think he was on the Eagles for a little while. Maybe.
Was he? Chris?
He's been around on a few teams.
Throw
But,
that out there, Greg.
hey, how about this? You're still getting a check to be a quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, of course.
And right now you're not getting hit every week, so that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Who was that was like a backup that just he stayed there forever? Was it Richard Todd? Or did
No,
Todd
Todd
actually
was
play?
the starter
He played-
for the Jets.
It was
Rutledge.
It was Rutledge.
Yeah,
Rutledge bounced
Long
He
around.
was at the Giants, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just he bounced around
Pretty
as a
good
back.
job.
Yeah, he did. Oh, that backup quarterback job until they put you in is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great job.
Yeah, and well, even when they put you in, nobody thinks you'll do anything. So if you get anything going, everybody's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's kind of like our career. It's low expectations.
Where is A.J. McCarron now? Is he still with St. Louis in the
He was in the World League,
Yeah.
the Battlehawks,
not the World League?
whatever it's called.
What do we call this?
It's called the
They've changed it 50 times.
UFL.
What was it?
Yeah.
Was it
United Football.
Yeah,
League.
that's where
Okay.
he's pretty
All
much
right.
playing.
Yeah.
Nick Mullins, by the way, in 2023 signed a 2-year contract, $4 million.
We'll take it.
$2 million a pop to sit over there
We'll
and
take it.
Go Vikings.
prep to play.
We'll take it.
You know.
Top of the hour.
He told me if I come up, he'd let me come to practice.
Really?
Yeah.
You might get to see him play.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Buffalo Wild Wings Charity Charge update coming up next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
So I hope you're happy.
Throw all your worries away. Come on, shake my hand and let her grin to the rest. Makes you feel so grand to get your chin off your chest. I'm shouting, hi, neighbor. Hi, neighbor. Time to play and say hi.
And a good afternoon to you, or good morning to you. Sorry about that. It is morning, and I don't know. I've already started so much today. I've already done, so I feel like I'm in the afternoon. Of course, it's Wednesday. That means my partner in crime, my co-host this morning, is Bradley Gilbert. Good morning.
Good morning.
And it's Education Wednesday, and that means we have from our own West Washington School Corporation, we have our own superintendent, Keith Nance, with us. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. It's the most wonderful time.
For parents.
We've not seen you all summer. I think your beard's a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
looking good.
I need to get
You got
squared
more
up a little
sun
bit,
going on
maybe.
out there. Yeah, so
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the sun this summer. It was nice.
Good for you.
The
All right, way to do it.
Sorry.
No.
Indiana sun only though.
Yeah.
I didn't get out of town like some people, but
That's all right.
the Indiana sun works as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of sun too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Brad, let's thank our sponsors this
All
morning.
right, we've got Mountain View Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rosa's, Fox Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Blackside Associates, Dr. Minnie Gunn, and McAllister Land Consulting.
All right, wonderful.
What I was going to interject there real quick is the drop-off line is, and all of that in general is always the fastest on the first day of school, right? You know, it's like, may not be, it's a rolling stop.
Yeah.
Get out, go.
It's the longest line.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
everyone brings their kids to school the first couple days.
Yeah.
Especially those kindergartners and first graders and preschool kids.
Yeah. What's funny is we start off with high hopes. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Then like the third day, oh okay, let's just get on the bus.
Yeah.
Let's go a different route. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you guys, it's almost like a superpower. All of those elementary school teachers and the staff and the whole group that gets everybody where they need to be. You know, and that's a job right there, and it's not an easy job for sure. So we're going to talk about that, but let's go into today. We're already on to the 14th day of August. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I found out, Brad, and you'll be happy. Or fall doesn't start till the 22nd of September.
Yes.
So you're in good shape.
I am in good shape.
Your pool is going strong, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Hold on. Yeah. I'll be the last one. I'm always the first one in, last one out.
Right. Exactly.
Always.
There we go. Always. Always.
Yeah.
This is Color Book Day. Love coloring.
Coloring books. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. It's actually very like calming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you sit down and like when one of my little ones is coloring and I color with them, you know, usually they tell me no, don't do that. Or
Yeah.
always good instructions.
Yes.
I mean, or you colored wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
There's no wrong in coloring, right?
Yeah, right.
This is also Congressional Startup Day. Okay, hats off to them. Ooh, National Creamsicle Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good creamsicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not had one forever. Yeah, those are good. Financial Awareness Day.
It's every day.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. Yeah, definitely aware of it. Yeah. National Code Talkers Day. Oh, for those that talk in code.
Mhm.
Love that. I think I could probably carry on conversations with both of you in code. A little.
Is it code talkers from which was it, World War I or II, where they
It was two. Was it
the Native Americans that were able
That's
to
exactly right. Yeah.
use code that the Allied forces could use at the.
And they also broke the code.
They broke
too.
codes, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
National
I feel like someday my normal talk
is code. Yeah.
Not intentionally.
Remember they talked about Kathy Hilton, and then they said, and then yep.
Mhm.
So, and then like you have to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what
Yeah.
did she just say? You remember they talking about that? National Tattoo Removal Day. Okay. National.
Regrets. It sounds like National Regret Day.
I know. Yeah, there you go. That would be. Yeah. I think I've not had a tattoo, but I think that I've heard the removal are very painful. I don't know, but heard that. National Wiffle Ball. I'm thinking
Wiffle ball.
waffles. Food. Wiffle Ball Day. I love wiffle ball.
Yeah.
Love it. Social Security Day. All right, so those are some days get out and enjoy for sure. All right, so Walmart's got you all ready. Got some really good rollback. You guys have got some really good markdowns.
Yes.
Was in there yesterday. It seems like I always go in there, I guess on a Tuesday. I don't know why, right before Wednesday. Well, maybe because I go in almost every day. But
Yeah.
you got some really good markdowns. I really hope people take advantage of that. Some good summer finds, which is we still are in the summer. So please check out some of those men's shirts and shorts and women's shirts for $1.
Yeah, absolutely.
And shorts for $1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so please go over there.
We've already got mums in. They came in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so which I'm not ready for any of that. But they're available for those who are. And our fall decor is in on the seasonal pad. It's getting, and we're still going strong with back to school.
Yeah.
And they're, like I said, the top 200 items for us came in, on rollback. So we did the commitment, and we talked about this before. The commitment for back to school is the same as our holidays. Is that we are everything is the same price or cheaper than it was last year. So
Yeah.
in an effort to make sure that we do that, so that's great. But which I sent you the pictures of it. But we talked about the caramel covered pretzels. Well, there's pretzel wafers by that same group that makes those, that's covered with caramel and chocolate, and then the pretzel rod. So I encourage anyone. And my favorite, we talked about, pumpkin rolls are here. So I will indulge in that during the end of summer. I will.
You got to have that. You got to have that with a cup of coffee. I'm telling you, it's just.
But we've got all your stuff for Friday night. You know, football. Is upon us, and tailgating and all that. So come see us.
All that.
Make it easy for you.
And I do want to say on the mums, you have mums that are not open yet, like they're not open yet, which is perfect to get. And then by the time, as the month gets to the end and you get into September, they'll be open and beautiful and ready.
Yeah.
I love that there's some of them are not open yet.
Yeah.
So then that's perfect time to get them. You got really good prices on the mums too.
Yeah.
So a fun time, definitely. Yeah. Transitioning.
Yeah.
Easy.
I should have on black, shouldn't I?
I know, not yet. You don't have to start
yet.
mourning yet.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
right. Still holding on to summer. You got it.
Oh, summer is nice, but fall is my favorite season, so bring it on.
Fall, like you just have that. We were just talking about.
As long as it doesn't rain the whole time.
It's such a short time. It's like
Yeah.
spring. You just got a little bit of time in between there before it goes from summer to winter. And
Well, that's just because we consider winter December 1st, because we all go to Christmas mode right away.
we do jump ahead.
That is true.
Oh yeah,
That is
yeah.
true.
I'm always ready for that for sure.
I like fall. It's just I prefer summer. But I do like fall. I'll do that. But fall could be 2 weeks for me, and I'd be perfectly happy. And then go into Christmas mode.
From summer to Christmas. Yeah, those are.
Because
you
I
just
think
like
this
the
year I'm
presents.
on the
He
nice
likes
list.
the presents.
I'm on
I
the
know.
nice
I've
list.
worked hard.
I worked hard at that. I'm on
Please
the
don't
nice
let me mess up between now and then, right?
Yeah.
Have things changed? Do we get to order our weather? I think I'm ready for that. Maybe it's like one snowfall on the 23rd of December, and then right back to 60 degrees.
That would be good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like spending, Christmas in the hot tub. It's always nice. Always a fun time, right?
I'm
For
there,
sure.
too, yeah.
All right, let's jump ahead. Okay, so Keith, last time we picked up, it was summer, and tell us a little about your summer. What'd you get to do? Did you get some family time?
Oh, personally, it was a
Yeah.
big summer for me. My daughter graduated from IU. My son graduated from West Washington. My daughter got married a month later. All kinds of things going on.
That's a
in the
busy summer.
Nance house. And then this Sunday, we'll be taking Clark to the IU, dropping him off. So that's going to be interesting. I've been through that once before, but this time it's a little different because last 4 years he's been at home by himself with us.
Yeah.
And so those days are emotional, You put on the strong face, but even dads, when they're driving away, get a little emotional.
For 4 years, it's been the Clark show. Now we're
Yeah, he's been a one-man band.
Yeah, that's the ideal. That's best 4 years ever.
Yeah, and he's even getting a little emotional about it.
Well,
right?
with you,
Wait
though.
a minute, that's a good
Well,
gig.
no, you think about it though. Picking your bags up and heading out. I mean, it is right. And then
It's
when
a
you
big day.
When you get dropped off, and maybe if you're meeting your roommate for the first time and you're kind of getting to know each other, it's kind of like
He said something to me that I thought was pretty wise. He goes, "I'm just ready for that day." He goes, because really it's the days between when you're thinking about it. Because what you imagine in your head is always 10 times worse than what reality is.
Yeah.
And so, he was, and I said, well, don't fast forward it. Your mom and dad, they're not ready yet.
No.
So he goes, I just want to be there so I don't have to think about what it's going to be like. I'll be immersed in it and I'll know what it's like.
Oh, definitely.
I do think that there's some knowledge in there that, sometimes what we do in our head is not not nearly what reality is.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's exciting.
And he's an exceptional young man, so it's time for him to get out and conquer the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, so actually 2024 is like really a big year for you.
Yes.
A graduation, a wedding, and then a send-off.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah, crazy. What a ride. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, and then now we have started, and you kind of got a big role there at West Washington, superintendent, making sure everybody's where they need to be, and a lot going on there. So how was the first day of school?
School started off great. So initially, in June, things are pretty quiet. July, after the 4th of July, things start to get bustling a little bit more. Spent a lot of time on transportation stuff. Initially, in the summertime, getting ready for that, making sure if we got any changes, things are ready to go for the school year. So we had some meetings with bus drivers throughout the summer. Certainly a big time for our maintenance and custodial staff, including the bus maintenance, because it's the one time of the year that they have access to the whole building all to themselves without having to work around everything that's happening at school, because once we start school, things are happening constantly. There's always something going on in one of the gyms. There's always something going on in the evening. You think that, kids go home, they'll have free reign, and not necessarily. A lot of classrooms they can get in and out of, but there's also a lot of things happening, like coming up this week we have our volleyball scrimmage on Thursday night at home against Orleans, and Friday night we'll be hosting North Harrison at our scrimmage for football. So there's always just a ton of events going on in the evening and outside of school day, and that's not even including all the clubs and other organizations that meet after school. So we also are hosting the Washington County Community Theater Group at our stage, and they're doing The Wizard of Oz, and they've been practicing on our stage for weeks now, and they will have a performance coming up here soon. I think it's next weekend. But yeah, they'll be using our auditorium for that, and so there's a lot of people in and out of the back there because they're getting in show prep mode. So we're excited for them and excited that we can help out. The arts are really important in our community as a whole and countywide. So we want to support them when we can, and it gives them the ability to get into a bigger space. Obviously, with the cast like the Wizard of Oz, it's a big cast, and that also means big crowds. And so I hope that they're able to have a huge gate and have a lot of people in and out and make a good amount of money. It's pretty much a gentleman's agreement. You take care of things, and we're going to give it to you. We're going to allow you to use it free of charge. So to them, it hopefully benefits their program as a whole, because we got a lot of kids involved in it, and the young kids, some of our adults as well. This play that they're putting on is a joint effort. It's got adult cast members and children. So and they put on top-notch stuff. So I'm excited to go and see it too.
Definitely. Now, a few years ago, West Washington and you guys did the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Was any of the stuff be able to be recycled?
Yeah, I'm not real sure.
I wonder, because
I partnered them up initially. I've been pretty hands-off other than the initial, hey, can we use the facility? How will we arrange this? What are the details? And then our drama director and them have been in conversation. But yeah, there might be some set pieces that we still had around. If so, that would have been advantageous. I'm just not 100% sure.
After the West Washington one, Brad and I had to go down the Yellow Brick Road.
Yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
We followed the Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
It was it was really nice.
That was actually the show that really pushed us into making an investment into our arts more than what we had. At that time, if you remember, the gym was not set up, or the gymatorium was not set up the way it is today.
Yeah.
We just had traditional bleachers and folding chairs, and the gym floor was just a typical gym floor, and we painted their Yellow Brick Road right on the floor.
Yes, you did, yeah.
The walls are still red, white, and blue. We've made a huge investment in time and effort and kind of making that space multi-use, but more usable for the fine arts than what they were previously, and giving you as a person who's coming as a audience member. I can think of the word audience. It's been a long week, a long week or two.
I have trouble with my words.
The audience experience is that much better. The quality of the audio and the lighting and stuff, we invested in that previous to that, but it gave us just a greater experience. And what we realized was hey, there's a lot of talent here, and the quality of the show appears less just because of where they're performing. So we made a lot of upgrades, and it's a really nice place to go now and watch a show.
It really is.
Yeah, very
300
nice
seat auditorium, really nice auditorium seats. We can add extra seating if we need to. So yeah, it's a nice space, and I'm excited that they get to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's great, and I love that for sure. And I can't wait to hear. And it's coming up in maybe
look
I
on my
didn't even
calendar.
get on the
I
spot.
believe it's the following weekend.
And that's a win for them too, because that
Yeah.
gives them the opportunity to have more people come see it. And,
Right. Well, and then
more
some of maybe
ticket
the
sales.
traveling on some, it's a little closer to home for some that want to.
They have a show on Friday. They have a matinee on Saturday, and a show Saturday evening, and they have a show on Sunday.
Right. Oh, awesome.
So
Okay.
4 shows.
I love that.
Next weekend.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Put that on your calendar.
Now, did I see something somewhere that this is a milestone year for you? Is
This is my 10th year.
10th?
Wow.
I had no idea. My wife counted it, so.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for wives.
I
you know?
will. Yeah, I'll be very transparent. That's where I saw that I thought. So.
Okay.
I thought she had posted it was year 10. So.
Wow.
Does it feel any different from years 1, 2, 3?
There are some things that seem more routine than they did before, which is good. It means you're getting more confident and comfortable in what you're doing. I don't know that it's any easier though.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you say, I feel more confident and comfortable in certain things, but
you should have
whether
just
based on just continually trying to improve and do something better and make the school and other things better, or the state, which constantly kind of adds more things, but they never take anything away, and we're doing it with the same staff, that makes things difficult. There are people that feel that stress, but the welcome back address that I did for our staff last Monday when they came back really kind of revolved around those things, because one thing I talked about was the last 4 years involving COVID, but then going back to even what seems like a long time in the rearview mirror, losing a really important person to our school, a really important person to me, and then those following years that were then one hit after another with COVID, and then the year after COVID with the COVID closures, and then just all these things that build and wear on you. And I talked to them about how difficult the last 4 years were, and how I hadn't recognized, but the last year felt like, to me personally or professionally, as one of the more stressful years for me. I felt a little beat down by it, and with some real reflection, I realized it really nothing particular bad happened in the last school year.
Mm-hmm.
But what had happened was a buildup of time, a buildup of things, and not addressing those issues. And talk to the staff about that, and talk to them how important it is to take care of yourself, but also talk about how important it is to make a choice. And sometimes you got to make a choice each day, and how much control we really do have over the events. We don't have control over the events that happen, but we have control over how we internalize them, how we react to them. And so we talked about making a choice to be positive, and what I was sharing was these were the choices that I was making, and the effect that it started to have on me. Typically we spend that entire first day talking about how great our staff is, how proud I am to work beside them, and I told them that in brief to begin with, because all those things are still very true. Sure. But I wanted to do something a little bit different, and normally I think that thematic things, having a theme can be a little bit hokey, can be a little bit corny. So I was a little reluctant to do it. I don't usually stand up there and give like the pregame football speech to the staff before the school year starts, but I did more of that this year. And what I really talked to them about was how I let things mount on me and affect me. And then last year, around April time, when I was finding that I wasn't enjoying things, and I had these important events coming up, like my child's last baseball season, and I was going to those games, and all I could focus on was, man, it's going to be over. Instead of enjoying the moment and being positive and saying, I get to come watch my son every single game he plays. How fortunate am I that I can get in my car and drive and go do this, and I'm not getting pulled in a bunch of directions. Fortunate enough to work at school, that my schedule is also the same as theirs, and I have this graduation coming up, and I got my child that I'm going to take to school in the summer, and I got my daughter, and I'm thinking of like, oh, this change in life and how bad that is, and instead of thinking about, oh, how amazing is this? My daughter is entered adulthood, and she's marrying a great person, and she's going to have this great another phase of her life. And I wasn't focusing on any of those things. And honestly, the only difference between those scenarios is I made a choice in my mind to be more positive about things and look at how beautiful those things are. And had I not done that in April, the experiences that I had in May and June would have been drastically different. and I talked to them about how I've applied it to my personal life, but why can't I apply it to my professional life? And I don't know that had a tremendous impact on them. It's had a tremendous impact on me, but I do know from day one, walking through our building to today, there is a real energy in our building right now, and it's an energy of positivity. And that only happens by a lot of people making choices. Of course it's going to be hard. What we do is not easy, and people that say it's easy never sat in that seat, never stood up in front of 25 kids, and never dealt with all the things that come at them each day, the number of decisions you make per day as an educator. Just think about being a parent with a couple of kids in your household, how overwhelming it can be. Like, yeah, of course it's stressful. What am I going to have for dinner tonight for my family? None of them want to tell me what they want. We have those conversations as family members all the time. Imagine that times 25 every single day with every single student and every single circumstance, as well as what we as a school are forcing upon teachers, what we as a state are forcing upon teachers. It is hard, and I did not downgrade that in any means to our staff. It was just kind of like, it's hard enough. There's no reason for us to make it harder. And sometimes we would do that. If you get into a funk, if you surround yourself with negativity, if you yourself are negative, you're just making what is very difficult nearly impossible.
Yeah.
And so it was a great, and then, the best part about the entire thing was then there were some other people that shared stories, and there were some people that were having conversations. And again, I do not, my ego's not one where it's like, I can just make everybody positive, make it a great year with this 10-minute little address that I'm giving to the staff. A 10-minute talk means nothing. But I heard people talking about, decisions that they were going to make for themselves, and you just heard people having positive conversations. We talked about, every day is not going to be perfect, and I'm not going to come in 100% of the time positive, but what I'm hopeful is that when I'm not, there are people that I can seek out that are, and they can lift you out of that funk, And so it was important for me, selfishly, it was important for me because it set me off on the right foot. And if it helped 1/3 of our staff to get set off on the right foot, then that can be very contagious, And we talked about that, the old saying is there's nothing more contagious than a positive attitude. I don't know if that's truthful. I think that honestly, a negative attitude can actually be more contagious, almost like a virus, And
I think a negative attitude is easier.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, it's forced upon us. Just look at our society where we are right now. Everything is negative. Everything is terrible. Don't even get into political things because you turn on the TV and you're just like, oh no, not again, not again, not again. And it's what sells. It's what keeps people, like you said, it's attractive for whatever to our psychology, to our human nature. And so that's where we spend our time. If you spend your time down in the dumps, you're going to be in the dumps. So it was important to me just to kind of have that mentality. And, I told them that, when I'm not positive, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of my office and I'm going to go to the elementary because those kids come to school positive no matter what.
You want to talk about seeing kids loving life, and change your perspective quickly, even with just get a bunch of kindergarten, first or second graders just doing their normal thing, and it's just like, ow. And when I was talking about being negative is easier, it less effort. There's no effort in being negative. There's more effort in finding the positive.
Choosing to be happy.
It's like, little kids at school and puppies. How can you need to change perspective. That's where you head to, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, you go and you look and, like how many positives it takes to outweigh one negative. So it is a lot more, and you have to have the attitude of gratitude, and then, choose the positive, and I try to go that route too. But I think that it gets a little, if you want to call, I'm heavy. Remember that hello heaviness? Remember? Was it? I remember. Anyway, I think that that you have to, when you're taking care of everybody else, and sometimes we don't take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, that's where, and I think you go with your staff, you know, from the custodians to the lunch, to the bus drivers, to the aides, to the teachers, I mean, to all of your administration. I mean, everybody, you tend to, and in Walmart and in Wslm, you tend to do and take care of everybody else, and then you're the last one on the list to take care of. And, you know, we learned on the airlines, you know, our airplanes, that, you know, you're supposed to put your mask on first. You know, you got to get yourself, you know, right, you know. So I think that is true. I think that those are good words of wisdom. And I think it's only makes you a human, you know, real human, that you don't always have it 100%. You know what I mean? I think that.
Yeah, and then I think as
to
educators, and a lot of people, honestly, I think all people are inherently good. Sometimes our circumstances and things that happen to us get us to think out of in a disturbed way or something, or not as focused on empathy. But teachers in particular, they are givers, you know.
Absolutely.
And so you spend a lot of time pouring water out of your cup into all these little cups, into all the people around you. If you're not doing anything to refill your cup, eventually you're going to feel empty. And, you know, we have to think about how we can be that to each other as a family of staff members, how we can help keep others' cups filled, but also what is important to us that fills our cup. Right. So, you know, and then one of the things I talked about was, like, how unfair is it for me to let these 3 or 4 years make me a miserable person, and then go home to the people that I love the most and be a miserable person. So, you know, it's also important in that aspect, because it all translates to other aspects of your life, your health, everything. Sure. And so it seems very elementary. It seems very simplistic. Some people, I said, some of you are probably scoffing at this. I just hope over time you think about it and a little bit more. But to just say make a choice to be positive sounds way overly simplistic. Yeah. But it can start with that. And what I found was eventually it was like, okay, day 1, I did it. I felt a little bit better. Day 2, I did it. Day 3, I didn't feel like doing it, but I kind of halfway did it. And then there's days where I didn't at all, but what I found was over time it just built up, and my cup I was filling up my own cup. Yeah. Just by taking care of myself a little better. So hopefully that's something that we can hold on to and that we can continue with throughout the course of the entire year, and as we go on year after year. Right. So.
Well, and I think too, you know, I think this goes across the board to anybody listening right now, any job you're in, you know what I mean? A lot of times, you know, you give 100% at work, and then, you know, maybe when you get home, it's hard to give 100%, or maybe, like you said, you might not come home and, you know, where you need to be. You have a lot on your mind, a lot on your plate, and that's where, you know, you kind of got to, you know, got to work on yourself. I think you're always in training. Like, I don't ever think I'm complete. You know what I mean? I'm always, like, you know what I mean, still being worked on. You know what I mean? I'm a work in progress over here. Yeah. Amen. Every day. And so, and this is our first time at it. So how do we know? I mean, you know what I mean? You know, when somebody does something different than me, how do I know? I always say in my head, how do I know that they're not doing it right? You know what I mean? You know, and you can learn from each other, and that's where, if you get a group of people together, and that's where I love the fellowship, and you talk to people and you kind of learn from each other, you know, what worked, what doesn't work, or, you know, and just like what you're saying to, you know, getting everybody, you know, we're all realistic. I mean, this is it. Everybody's not going to be, you know, happy 100%, but that's where you have to work on it, and, you know, and make those decisions. And, you know, I heard a coach the other day talk about, you know, when you walk in a room and the light's off, you know, how many times do we holler, hey, someone turn the light on? Why don't you be the one that turns the light on? You go over there and you turn that light on. You make sure the light's on, you know? Right. Yeah. And I think that's something that, you know, kind of goes into what you're saying there.
Well, I kind of think that it's just kind of in our culture, and it's been not just like put in the minds of leaders, but servant leaders, people that are in, you know, educators or servant leaders, and things like that. But I think it's always been part of our culture that the leader or the servant leader, their needs are always last. And I think that's just kind of over the last, especially 25 years. I think that that's just kind of been ingrained in us. And so, whereas at some point, we're finally getting to the realization is you can't fill other people's cups if your pitcher that you're pulling out of is empty. And so I think that's just kind of, because we hear sayings that we say every day you don't think about. You used to, they'd say never let them see you cry. Well, and then they've changed that, never let them see you sweat, all that stuff. Is like, that's part of that. The one that's in charge, the leader, or the ones that are doing this, don't ever let anybody think you need something. And I think and there's a lot of things that are negative about coming out of the pandemic and going through the pandemic, but I do feel like in some ways that we started talking about what do I need, what do we kind of changed the course on that a little bit, and I think that's important. And I think it's a very good point that you brought up, is like, we think about the things that we do and the people that we are taking care of in our day-to-day life, and then you think about the educators, multiply that times 25, and different multiple classes and things like that. So I think those are some things to go, oh, wow, we need to think about that and realize that, and let's face it, we've said this many times, but people in education, they're there because they love it. Right. And we need to respect that and honor that. Right.
Well, and I think on your end too, Keith, very realistic, just like Stevie Nicks, you built your world around your children. I mean, you're a dad, and you've been a wonderful dad, and things are changing in your life, so I think that's only natural for you to have some emotions, and I think that's, going back to the seasons in your life, the Bible talks about seasons, and I'm a huge believer in that, and this is a season, so why would you not have these emotions that you're like, you've got happiness, but you got sadness, and you and your wife now, Marcy, are trying to adjust to your life, so I think these are all natural, but then also life goes on.
I think I agree totally. You have to take the moment to feel it, but you can't make that moment be all the moments where you can't see the beauty in what's happening. Right. Yeah,
but I think parents, we do that, what I mean? Because I've gone through that, and Brad, you've gone through that. You're going through it too, somewhat. You know what I mean? And I think it is, and it's it's just a different lifestyle. It's not a bad thing. And this is actually when we've taken our children and dropped them off at kindergarten. We knew, and we were excited about it, and we've seen them through their seasons and where they've grown. And this is the day that we've been waiting for. It's just like, are we really ready for it? We're not ready for it. Yeah. So I think it's a precious moment. And I think that bringing that to your awareness and bringing that to your staff. Look, this is, I'm kind of going through some things. Which, who isn't? Yeah. Who is not? And I think those are things to be, admired. And I feel like this is on my end. This is my advice, real quick, to you guys, because I've got them. But I think we're so blessed to have our health and to be where we're at and to see what we're seeing is like none other. Yeah. And to get to see our children grow and, see your daughter walk down the aisle. What amazing moment, Keith Nance. Right?
It was an amazing moment.
To leave your son at college and watch him be the butterfly that you've worked hard on. And you too, Brad.
I mean, I'm working right now on Maximus, the dog, he's going to be the best dog ever.
Brad is like taking his energy and putting it to the dog. He got a puppy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that's how Brad's working on his.
I'll tell you. It's like herding cats with one dog.
So I think it's great. I think it's good, and I think the new school year, we've got new changes, we've got new stuff coming up on us, so I think it's great, and I think it's good for everybody. I think that's the wisdom that I have to give. But anyway, let's go back on because this is good talk and good for anybody. It's a good food for thought on all of us. But go back to when you first started at West Washington, let's say 10 years ago, with the superintendent. When you first even applied for that role, did you have any idea of what you were going to?
Oh no, it's kind of interesting because I started right out of college with an affiliation with West Washington as a coach, and I taught in New Albany for 11 and a half years, and then I got my admin license because I thought I wanted to be an athletic director, and I was told by the then athletic director, Ron Smith, like, hey, they probably might want the next AD to have an admin license, so they probably want them to have some additional admin responsibilities. in addition to the athletic director job, maybe some discipline things or something else. And so I got hired in January, which is kind of unorthodox too, to be the assistant principal. And I didn't do that very long, just a year and a half, and then I became the principal. And I didn't do that very long, just for a couple of years. And then, you know, Mr. Jackson retired, and he and I had a good relationship. And I had not applied for the job. They did a search, they did interviews, they did all those things, and they just weren't very happy with the candidate pool. I'm sure there were probably some very talented people that applied, but they decided they wanted someone that might be a little more community-centric. And even though I hadn't lived there my entire life, I had chose to live in that community, even though I was working in New Albany the entire time, which is my hometown. I still elected to live in Hardinsburg. And then I moved from Hardinsburg to Campbellsburg. Whenever, you know, you get to that first phase of your marriage and you're ready to upgrade your first starter home to something different. And I think that was a part of it. And, you know, once I did get hired and it was my full-time job to be there as an administrator, I was very visible. I was very involved, very engaged with people. And so I think because of that, the board came to me and asked if I'd be interested in the superintendency. And I told them I had never considered that ever, hadn't thought of it at all. And so now to be here 10 years later is like so far out of the realm of what I saw my future being. It's just kind of funny how things happen, and sometimes what you envision and what you wish for all this time doesn't happen, but you actually end up where you're supposed to be to make the best impact you potentially could. So yeah, it's exciting. I don't feel like at the time when I got hired I was like the second youngest superintendent in the state. I don't feel like that anymore. After 10 years, and I'm not anymore, but I definitely don't feel like the youngest superintendent in the state. But it's been great, you know. I talked about all the things that happen and the things that you have to deal with, and the things that can put you in a negative space. I spent very little time in a negative space. You know, I don't want to say that like, oh, all this time. It just hit me last year at one point, like I was in a negative space, and I had to do something to change it. So I just told myself to make a choice each day to try to be positive, and it got a little better, a little easier every day, and I hope I can make it stick, you know.
What a huge compliment.
The consistency is the hard part.
Right, but what a huge compliment at the very beginning for the board to have seen something in you that they felt like, because we know that like every superintendent, and when you're looking for a superintendent, you have to find what matches up the best with your school. Every school's unique, every school's different, and for the board to have seen that in you and then say, hey, this might be a good fit. And then of course it's been a perfect fit. It's been a really good fit for West Washington. And actually 10 years as superintendent, that's, if you go back and you look at the history of superintendents, that's, you've been there for a while. I mean, that's a good
Yeah,
It's,
right?
I think on average it's like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's again like the board coming and saying, hey, think about this. I actually was on a Walmart meeting, and it's very similar to my point to that was that like when people approach us, you said, you know, that's not where you thought your path would go, that's not what you envisioned for yourself. But sometimes when people come to us and say, hey Keith, what about superintendent, and we oftentimes go, that's not what was in my plan, or that's not where I see myself. And the person that was talking yesterday, she was talking about that she had someone approach her for a job with our company, and she's like, I don't think, and that person said, no, you're not listening. What about thinking about this? Because sometimes it's the other people that see that you don't see in yourself. And we need to, even if you end up not doing what they're asking you to do or taking a role that way, but think about it. Think about it. And because all too often we are our own worst critic, and it's just like, I wouldn't be successful with that, or it's not part of the plan. How many times have everyone, and we teach our kids and family members, you know, what's your plan, and then well, those plans are, if you look at all of us in this room right now, what our plan was at 18 versus where we are now, no, none of
Yeah.
us would have thought we were at a radio station. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
No.
but
No.
still,
Right.
you would have not thought, because we all had different plans.
I mean, I
so-
agree that you don't have to jump at every opportunity. You have to take every opportunity. But if you turn your back on every opportunity and don't ever consider them at all, you might be really missing out on something.
Yeah.
So, just the idea of like, take some time, wrap your head around this. Is it a possibility? It was interesting how that conversation went when I went home, talked to my wife. I was like, you'll never believe what happened today. So yeah, the whole thing has been quite a trip. I'm just really happy that after 10 years, I'm still in a place where I can love the place I'm at. Even with the events that have, transpired over a certain time, that my kids still love the place that they came from. I felt like somehow, some way, I picked right.
Yeah.
I picked right when I said, no, let's get this house in Hardinsburg. I can drive to New Albany. That whenever Coach Pritchett at the time called me and said, hey, you want to be an assistant coach for our football team? I'd never heard of West Washington. I'd never been by that school. In fact, when I drove by it, I thought, there's a school out here? And, I drove 60 a million times, go to Bloomington, visit friends or whatever. And, again, opportunity presented itself. I made a choice. Obviously, I probably could have been successful with a bunch of different paths, but, I really look back at it now and think I did pick right. Usually after 10 years in a setting like this and the position that you're in, there's a little bit of spite. There's like some other things built in there. I feel very, very fortunate to still love where I'm at, and
Sure.
Maybe I can do it for another 10.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, I think you got more than another 10 in you. Keep going. In 10 more years, we'll all be sitting here, okay?
Hey, remember that time you said 10 more years?
I hope I'm retired in 10 more years.
No, you're
and I'm
not.
talking to you
Brad's
all.
not going anywhere. They want, Brad doesn't tell it, but they always want Brad. I mean, they would, if Brad would do it, he can't leave though. We've got chains on him here, but they would have him in Arkansas. I mean, they'd have him at the top of the top of the top. He could go anywhere too, him and Mike King, but we have to keep him here, so they must stay here.
This is home.
Yeah, this is home.
Very
You can't
happy
leave home.
here.
Well, everyone I talk to says we have the top Walmart they've ever been to.
Oh,
We do.
we
So,
do.
we do.
Oh, we do. We do that.
Yeah,
we know that.
Mike King is.
I mean, I
is
refuse
amazing.
to walk into other ones. I mean,
Yeah. Well, we have people driving from other communities.
so I'm not Walmart loyal. I'm Salem Walmart loyal.
That's even better. Even better.
Look at Brad.
Yeah, I get to work with great people, and Mike has done an exceptional job building a culture here, and our customers are great. Our community partners are great. So I'm very blessed, guys.
So I was looking. I always look at the clearance, and they had the dollar rack. So I'm looking at it, and Mike goes, "What are we doing?" And I said, "Oh, I said we're looking. I said, "This stuff's $1." He goes, "What? They marked it down to $1." And he knew, but of course he's
of
like,
course he knew, and
but
he's
he's
the one that you'll set through a management meeting, and I go there just to keep him under control. To
I
be
know you do,
honest.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the only thing I do. But he's always like, "We're not sending this stuff back.
No,
we're not
he-
sending this stuff back. We are getting it in the hands of our customers." And so
Yeah, I know.
he'll say, "Let's make some friends today."
Oh, yeah.
And he does that tongue in cheek, but he's very committed to why send it back when we got it in our building,
yeah,
we can
absolutely.
get it into the community and save people money.
Well, what a blessing.
That's the
yeah.
reason that this store is so successful. Mike King is exceptional.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah. He goes, "What? They've done $1?" Yeah. Anyway, and then also real quick, I do want to remind everybody, check out the toys too. Clearance on toys, cha-ching, cha-ching. Yeah.
Go ahead and shop for Christmas.
Absolutely.
Christmas, birthdays coming up. Yeah.
All kinds of
So,
stuff.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with incentivizing your kids for school things too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Don't let them just come in and get in the habit of throwing a fit to get a toy every time they tag along to Walmart. But do really well at school for a couple weeks. Do really well. Get on your stuff in.
Yeah.
I get a call from Keith Nance this week.
I always used to, and I have like a prize closet. You know what I mean? And so if somebody did something, we'd have a
Yeah,
prize.
if radio hadn't been your calling, you might have been a teacher.
Maybe.
Well,
the prize closet.
There's a lot of prize closets in our school.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think, and we talked about this last week, but go ahead and get that extra stuff too, and give to the schools.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
we had a guy come in yesterday. They had marked glue down to 25 cents from $1, and he bought a bunch, and he's like, well, I'm gonna send this to school with my grandkids, and
Oh, nice.
that,
Very nice.
things like that.
Yeah,
So,
teachers love that.
and stock up, because it's the beginning of school is not the only time that schools need stuff. So even if you don't have kids or grandkids in school anymore, help out.
Yeah. So I my girls do that, and I was tickled because I was taking Wilder to school. We call him Walter, but his name's Wilder.
He's my best friend.
Yeah, Brad's best friend, and his name is really Wilder. She named him right. So
I bet they love it in the student list when the teacher gets it. Wilder.
Yeah, that's why Brad. That's why Brad loves him. You can the name alone. Sold him.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I opened up his backpack because I was like, it's so heavy. Abby had packed like a 3-pack of the sanitizing wipes. You know what I mean? To give to the teacher, and those are nice little things, and to just do and give to the teachers like that, or Kleenex is coming up, sanitized wipes, everything like that. So, and just like glue, paste, or whatever, or paper, anything, folders, send that. Yeah. So those are always nice. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to good tips, Brad, for Walmart, and if they're marked down, the glue's marked down for a quarter.
I'm watching my clock because I know my 9 o'clock hard stop.
I know. Okay, what else we got going
I always try to run you late.
I know.
And then you get in trouble with the radio, with the syndicated show, because come back on at 9.
I know. So true. All right, what we got coming up?
So I would definitely want to shout out to the girls golf team making history. We've never had a girls golf team, and they participated in their first ever match this past week. And it was a success because they got out there and they played the full round, and they had a great time. We'll worry about the scores later.
Yeah. No,
that's great. No.
But a bunch of girls got energized to get it going, and Mr. Wolf, who is our boys golf coach, is coaching them, and there are a lot of smiles out there. They're learning the game. They're having fun. It's just an opportunity. They got a full team, which a lot of schools don't even have that. So really proud of them. Also, I wanted to share over the summer. The test results for 23-24 came out at our board meeting on Monday. Our principals are going to be sharing a report with them, but in addition to that, we're going to be putting out a newsletter online that kind of highlights those things. But we had another excellent year success in that field. It's not the end-all be-all. I would not say it's the most important thing, but if you don't say it's important, then you're missing the mark, because it is important for all of our individual students to make sure that they are on pace, that they're being educated properly, and it's one thing for us to look at and delve into and say, is there ways for us to improve? So we use that measure for that. In our 7th and 8th grade, our scores went up drastically from what they had been in the past. Our elementary has been historically very high performing, and they're 7 through 12. There are a lot of things that impact that, but changes to what the classroom looks like is the biggest part. And we were above the state average in both language arts and math, and we haven't had that in some time. Within our area, we had the highest English language arts scores for our 7th and 8th graders, and we had the second highest math scores and the second highest overall of students passing both. And that's really good. In both cases, we were above the state average. In English language arts, we were 11 points higher than the state average, and in math, we were 5 points higher than the state average. In addition, our SAT scores went up, and I really contribute that to our early college that we've got in place now, because what that has done has really upped our game as instructional practitioners, as teachers. We had to do a lot of things to prepare ourselves to become an early college, and that helped us learn teaching strategies for composition, for reading for fluency, reading for information. Those are things, a lot of times you think back to when you were in school, and a lot of it was like you loved reading a certain book, and we want to teach reading for enjoyment, of course, but also you need to be able to learn, you need to be able to read to gain knowledge as well. And so, we upped our game in a lot of those places, and I want to give credit to our teachers for that. They really invested and took a lot of time and worked on that. And then also Dr. Gerges, our high school principal, or 7 through 12, junior high, senior high school principal, really was hired for that reason. We looked at her and saw what was going to be a good instructional leader, and she's really pushed our staff, and they're doing a great job.
And that's such a benefit for the student and the families that
Yeah.
that graduate at West Washington and have all that college that taken care of, they won't have to pay for.
Yes.
Yeah, my daughter went with tremendous number of credits when she went to college. What we've done in the last few years, my son has almost double what she did.
Isn't that crazy?
And they're only
awesome.
separated by 4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, really happy about where we are. And that wasn't without a lot of effort. Actually, our previous principal, Miss Mary Ann Knapp, was the one who started that process. So really excited about that. In the elementary school, our elementary they just kill it every time. But 68% in the entire elementary passed the language arts portion, 71% passed the math. That puts us up there, ranked in the state, in the top with a lot of schools in bigger areas or even private schools. For 6th grade passing language arts, we were 3rd in the state. Percentage is 71%.
That's awesome.
For 5th grade language arts, we were ranked 6th. And here are the schools ahead of us: Huron Prep School, Northwest Hendricks, Oaks Academy, Carmel Clay, and Brownsburg. If you know anything about those places,
especially Carmel and Brownsburg, it's got a lot more money than
there's very affluent areas or private schools. So to be up there with those, I feel really proud of our staff, and of course our students for taking it seriously as well. But our staff is our biggest impact on these scores.
Sure. Well, and that says too down the road that we're very proud of. A West Washington student can go out there and compete with anybody from any school, and that's hats off to the corporation there to do that.
And then I'm not going to hit on all these because we'll have some information out there. But the one that really sticks out to me that is just really amazing. We had the highest 5th grade I Learn Math passing scores in the state.
Oh wow!
Almost 82% of our kids. To me, again, we can get too focused on these things sometimes, but what it shows to me is that I see our teachers caring for our kids' social and emotional needs. I see our kids happy. I see our kids enjoying school, but not at the expense of this.
Right.
We're doing both, and you can do both. And so I'm just really proud of our teachers, really proud of our admin team, because they set the direction. They're kind of like on the Viking ship, they're standing up at the front, and the teachers are the ones there rowing, and we're all rowing in unison, and we're getting to where we have set our goals to be. And so I'm just really proud of our staff as a whole. And the impact it has on our students, it's going to make our community a better place. It's going to give them better opportunities. And so I'm just really proud of the work that's being done.
Yeah, you should be. Absolutely.
You got to celebrate the wins. And I think that's interesting, though, that, you think about maybe it is the nuanced stuff that you're doing, taking care of people, that is causing these other things to go up. And it's just why can't you have both? Why wouldn't you want to have both?
Right.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I actually, a lot of people talk about our atmosphere, and I do think that that's important. But every school I've ever been at, every school I've ever been to, 98% of the educators I've ever sat at a table with, they all care about those things about kids.
Oh yeah.
There is no school in this county that is not doing everything they can to meet the physical, social, and emotional needs of the students. I truly believe that.
I am 100% agree.
Now, I will say, I don't know many people doing this better than what we're doing, because we also have almost 1/3 of our kids that are labeled as special education, and we're still getting those numbers. We still have nearly a 50% free and reduced lunch rate, and we're still getting these outcomes. And so I feel like whatever that secret recipe is, we've got it. And I'm just really proud of what they're doing. Exceptional work.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm glad you should. You know, you need to honk that horn and toot the horn for people to see you coming, and I think that's great. You should be very proud. Well, and I think, are we to the point, Keith, with these higher numbers and what you're seeing, and that's got to be a huge win and positive for the corporation. But do you feel like from, let's go back 4 years ago in 2020, whenever we had COVID and stuff, like our numbers were kind of, I guess, crazy, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And now, how proud are you that we're kind of getting back, we're back, if you will, on that path now, and we're going upward? Does that?
Yeah, no, I think it's difficult because it did have an impact on our ability to grow.
Absolutely.
These scores might have been higher as. What I think is our separation from ourselves and maybe the state average and a comparison to other places potentially is the things that we have done post 2020, and everyone was putting in a lot of effort.
Sure.
But I think, it's kind of a mindset thing. We came back from COVID and said, COVID is not going to define what we're going to do. We're not going to keep saying, well,
Right.
COVID, well, because of COVID, well, this
Right.
because of COVID, you know, inconsistent attendance. All those things are absolutely true, and all those things are
Yeah.
huge obstacles. But, you know, the obstacle in the path is the way. You don't
Right.
go around the obstacle.
No.
You got to address the obstacle, and you got to attack it hard.
I always say, my saying is go boldly into the night and
Yeah.
go right on in there. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I don't like to keep going back to that, but it is something. You know,
No,
you have to
100%.
remember. I mean, and that's not in a child's career. That's a huge. You know, that was a huge impact.
Oh,
you know,
right now, and we think it's still
educating.
not having an impact on kids. Kindergartners
Yeah.
were born previous to 2020, just prior to.
Mm-hmm.
And so they probably came into this world, for the first 6 months, the world looked normal. And then, for a period of 12 to 18 months, if you had this little baby, you probably isolated yourself, maybe
Sure.
even from extended family.
Yeah.
Because who are the most vulnerable? The elderly and the young.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just the kids and their socialization and preparation for kindergarten, you see that, you know, that some kids come running into the school, and some of them, and honestly, every time I see a parent, I try to explain to them, the reason the kid cries when you bring them to school is not because of school. It's because of separation from you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they'll come home, and if you ask them at the end of the day, school was great, and the next morning they're crying again. And it's because of the separation from the parent, and that is probably exaggerated today because of we did spend so much time isolated in our homes. We probably did so much time in their biggest period of development, from 0 until 2 years, really attached to you, even more so than my kids would have been 18 years ago, 22 years ago. So yeah, the impact is going to be lasting. It's going to be continual, and I think it's just like we were talking about earlier. Is there a negative? Of course, there's a negative associated with everything that happened with COVID, but we were going to make a choice that we're not going to focus on that. We're not going to ignore it. The reality is it happened. It's there. There are obstacles, but we're going to keep focusing on what our goal is and not the obstacle itself.
Right, right. Well, I had, 6 daughters. Some were ready to bust out and loving to go to school, and I had one that was just like, I had to go do Elmo comes forward, but Elmo comes back. But Elmo comes back, We had to go over that, every morning, and then.
This isn't goodbye. It's see you later.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is an adjustment. It is, yeah, definitely. So, it's very interesting. Anything else that we need to catch because we've only got a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Nance.
I mean, just come out Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday volleyball at 6 o'clock against Orleans. It's scrimmage format. Friday, North Harrison football field at home.
Is that your first
scrimmage
game?
format?
Or is that
No,
like
it's just scrimmage.
Scrimmage, that's what I thought.
First game
yeah.
will be Pekin the next week, and
That's
we're at home for
what I
that
thought.
one too.
Yeah,
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
For sure. And of course, the grill will be going.
Oh yeah, we like to eat. We talk about Hoosier hospitality.
Yeah.
Coming out to West Washington.
You want concessions?
Yeah. Don't think when I go like travel throughout the state or whatever, and I carry the 3 teams. West Washington, we eat there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Well, I've actually had people say, we always We want our game. Is it at West Washington? Is it at
Yeah.
West Washington?
That fire up that grill. They take
Yeah.
pride in that too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's good. Well, Keith, thank you for coming in this morning, and keep up the great work at West Washington School Corporation Superintendent. And if anybody has any more information or wants more information, I guess they can check out your
Yeah, our
Facebook
school
or your
website. School
yeah.
website. Follow us on social media. We try to be pretty active on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're glad to get you back. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's great to be here.
You're back to school, right?
Yeah.
Back to school.
Back at it.
Brad, keep up the good work over at Walmart. Keep marking those prices down for us.
Yeah,
We love that.
absolutely.
And bringing in that fall stuff and enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's thank our sponsors.
All right, we've got Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rose's, Fox Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and McAllister Land Consulting.
And I do have some Colts tickets available for this coming weekend. So it's a Saturday night game, fun time. So check out my Facebook page, share for a chance to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
If it's the first Tuesday of the month, then you know it's Customer Appreciation Day at our local Salem, Indiana Papa John's Pizza. Get a hand-tossed or a thin-crust large 2-topping pizza for only $6.99 the first Tuesday of every month. Use promo code CAD2022 when ordering online at papajohns.com. Or order 2 and get it delivered. Call 812-883-3369 or stop by the corner of Main and Hackleberry Streets for your hot, fresh pizza today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Give Du Bois County Tire a call. Big or small, they service all.